Hey Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
This video is about the Shiftright Family Tree, where you'll probably already know Kurt, Craig, Clint, and Kevin as being 4 generations of Piston Cup racers. You can see on this family tree that there's more than just those 4. And what if I told you there were even more Shiftrights that raced in the Piston Cup other than those 4? I'll tell you in a bit. Starting at the top, we have Cadence Shiftright, the father of Kurt. Cadence Shiftright was born in 1889 and died in 1952 at the age of 63, as he was already 50 years old when the first race of 1940 happened. But he did race on local dirt tracks in California, as the Shiftright family is from California. But Cadence Shiftright won a lot of those races. And on to his wife, whose name is unknown, but all we know else is that she is the mother of Kurt Shiftright. Now, let's talk about him. Kurt Shiftright was not the only son that Curtis had that raced in the Piston Cup. The other one is John Shiftright, who raced alongside his brother in the early Piston Cup seasons. We'll get back to him later. Kurt Shiftright was born on February the 5th, 1916. And the most well-known fact about him is that he's a 3-time Piston Cup champion, getting the first 3 Piston Cups that a Shiftright family member has won in 1950, 1955, and 1961. He also has 85 career victories in the Piston Cup, putting him 5th all-time, only behind the Hudson Hornet, Lightning McQueen, Drive Parkerson, and the King. And his career spanned from the very first race in 1940 all the way to 1967, where he retired, and also won his final race. Now on to his wife, Barbara Shiftright, who I do have an image for, but not much is known about her, other than the fact that she's Kurt's husband and the mother of Craig Shiftright, the second great Shiftright in the Shiftright racing family, where he won another 3 Piston Cups, winning in 1975, 1976, and 1977. Pushing the total of amount of Piston Cups won by a Shiftright to 6. He was born on June 4th, 1938, and he's still alive today at the age of 83. He also won 81 races in the Piston Cup, with his career spanning from 1964 to 1993. But, unlike Kurt, he raced in a primarily 36 race schedule, rather than the 60 race schedule that his father raced in the early days of the Piston Cup. Now on to Craig's wife, Bonnie Shiftright, who was born in 1938 and is still alive today. Not much is known about her either, but I do have an image! And on to Craig's brother, Kent, who never raced in the Piston Cup, and he has a wife, who we know literally nothing about. But Kent has another brother, Kenny Shiftright, who you might be familiar with for sometimes qualifying in Piston Cup races. That's because Kenny Shiftright was a Piston Cup racer, who was a pretty unremarkable racer, but he did win 3 races in the Piston Cup. The reason he is not super well remembered is because he did not qualify for a lot of races. But he did win at the home track of the Shiftright family at the Los Angeles International Speedway. His career spanned from 1985 all the way till 2008. And now we're going to talk about his nephew, Clint Shiftright, who is yet another 3-time Piston Cup champion, making it 3 successive generations of 3-time champions in the Shiftright family, bringing the total of Piston Cups the Shiftright family has up to 9. Clint Shiftright was born on September 27th, 1958, and he's still alive today at the age of 63. And his career spanned from 1979, the same year where Dale Earnhardt began his career, to 1998. But Clint Shiftright won 56 races in his relatively short career. And his wife, Sally Shiftright, we don't know much about her either, but I do have an image. Now let's talk about some of the kids that she had with Clint, including Kevin Shiftright, the 4th generation Shiftright, who was born on January 18th, 1977, and went on to become a Piston Cup racer, just like his father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. Unlike those 3, he was unable to win a Piston Cup, but he did win 5 races, including 2 wins at the Los Angeles International Speedway. and he came top 5 in points on multiple occasions in the Piston Cup, despite his stiff competition. But unfortunately, he had a very short career, only spanning 11 seasons from 1999 to 2009. And some of his siblings are also involved in the Piston Cup, like Jessica Shiftright, who went on to marry Tim Shiftright, who commentated at Craig Shiftright's 80th birthday party race in 2018. And Tim Shiftright used to be a racer himself, but had a career-ending crash. Craig Shiftright Jr. is Kevin's younger brother, but he did not race in the top division of the Piston Cup, instead racing in the second division, where he won 14 races, becoming moderately successful in that division, racing in the second division from 2000 to 2015. And now, onto his younger sister, Cody Shiftright, who has some kids that we'll talk about later. But onto our younger brother, Gary Shiftright, who broke the streak of the Shiftright family naming their sons with a name that starts with K. About Gary Shiftright, he won 32 races in the fourth division, which is called Karka. He's been racing in that division since 2007, and he's been racing in it ever since, where he got one win last season in 2021. Now onto his cousin, Aiden Shiftright, who made one start in the Piston Cup, the top division. And the reason he made this start was because his cousin Kevin got sick and needed a replacement. And Aiden Shiftright would replace him for that one race. Since he did well in that race, many asked why Aiden Shiftright did not make another start in the Piston Cup. Now onto his wife, whose name is unknown, but their son is Ed Shiftright, who is named after the 1940s, 50s, and 1960 Piston Cup racer, Ed Myers, who won some races in the Piston Cup. Aiden has a brother who is for some reason a next gen. This car is Tom Shiftright, who is also racing in the Piston Cup. Now, back to Cody Shiftright, where she has 4 sons, including Christian, who is not blood related to the rest of the Shiftright family, but he does share their skill in racing, as he's scheduled to race in Piston Cup B in 2022, which is going to be a new division to deal with the overload of racers in the Piston Cup. Why didn't they come up with that idea earlier? Now onto his younger brother, who is related to the Shiftrights, Clint Shiftright Jr., who was born on October 11, 2001, and he started racing in the Piston Cup just last season, his rookie year. But he hasn't won yet. Now onto his younger brother, Kenny Shiftright, who is not to be confused with his granduncle. Now onto the youngest brother, Cadence Shiftright, who already has a significant other and twins at the age of 17. Now let's talk about Cadence Shiftright himself. And he's set to race in Piston Cup Juniors next season in 2022. And also, some of his older brothers already have sons as well. Clint Shiftright III is the son of Christian Shiftright, and Kyle Shiftright is the son of Clint Shiftright Jr. It is unknown if any of these 2 cars, or their cousins Carter and Coda, will become racers in the future. Time will tell if they do. Now onto the other side of the tree, with John Shiftright and his descendants. About John Shiftright, he did race in the Piston Cup, but he only won 7 races on the 60-race schedule of the 40s and the 50s. And his Piston Cup career spanned from the first race in 1940 to 1968, 1 year after his older brother retired. We do not know much about his wife other than when she lived, but their daughter Donna did marry another Piston Cup racer named Harold Dodge, who raced in the Piston Cup from 1960 to 1982. Unfortunately, he never won a race. But he and Donna did have a daughter named Colleen. Colleen Dodge raced in the 3rd division, and she was the first female car to do so. Unfortunately, I do not have an image of her racing in the 3rd division. Now let's move on to another part of the tree that is shown in this badly drawn red square. Now onto this part of the Shiftright family, where nothing much is known for a whole 2 generations between John Shiftright and his great-grandson, Jason Shiftright, who was born in July of 1999. But he is a Piston Cup racer who raced in 2 races last season, and he'll attempt to qualify for more races in 2022. Oh, I almost forgot! There's also Ben Shiftright, who is the son of Clint Shiftright. Ben Shiftright moved to the United Kingdom to race in the Piston Cup UK, where he won 16 races in that division, and he had a very close finish with Daryl Draggard in 2008, where he only won by 2 feet! Now, you see the entire Shiftright family tree again. Don't just think of Kurt, Craig, Clint, and Kevin. There are many more racers in the Shiftright family. And the Shiftright family is easily one of the most successful racing families in the Piston Cup, if not the most successful.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribe, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
This video turned out to be longer than expected. I expected this video to be around 8 minutes long. But I will try my best to get the next part of the 2007 Piston Cup season out tomorrow.